Welcome to the Rutherford Method. I'm James Rutherford, and I love talking to inspirational people from all walks of life. From athletes to stay-at-home mothers, everyone has a story to tell. Hey guys, just wanted to give a quick shout out as a bit of a precursor to this podcast with Stephen Crack. He's my old sparring partner and probably the entire reason I actually got into martial arts, so it was a pretty special podcast. Unfortunately though, around the hour and 50-minute mark, my SD card ran out of memory, which was quite embarrassing. However, there is a ton of great content, and that has sort of forced my hand to get down and do a part 2 with Stephen at some stage. So please, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you get something out of it. All right, welcome to episode 4 of the Rutherford Method. I'm joined by Stephen Crack, currently a 3rd Dan Kyokushin black belt.
Yep.
Very old school sparring partner. You're the reason I actually got into martial arts. Been a long time coming. Welcome.
Thanks, man.
Mate, want to dive straight into it. Your first martial arts experience, what age was that? What got you on the path?
Yeah, okay. So when we were at Montello,
Yes.
probably very early on, well before we became friends, I was really heavily bullied.
Yes.
If you can remember, I was a skinny little piece of shit. So I just, didn't know how to control my temper and couldn't handle myself out of a wet paper bag.
Yes.
And all of those things don't work well together. So
Yep.
heavily bullied, had the shit beaten out of me on a daily basis there for a while because Montello was quite rough.
Yes.
In hindsight. But I started training. I started training in Terryland Street at the age of 7.
So was that something your folks got you into, or you went home one day?
I'd
Dad,
always wanted to do it.
Yep.
I was always interested in, because I didn't know any better. I was
Yes.
interested in Taekwondo, and I was interested in Judo and a few other bits and pieces. And I just trained in the first thing that came my way, which was a style called Sanchikai Karate, which was a freestyle kind of. I don't really know what freestyle means, really.
Yeah,
I think it was the very beginnings of what people would consider MMA, I suppose.
Yes,
Mixed martial arts. But yeah, they called it freestyle back then, which was another way of just chopping and changing shit.
Yeah. It's interesting, the terminology, isn't it?
Yeah.
People have just borrowed things from other styles, and
That's it.
It's freestyle. Yeah?
So yeah, I trained there for quite a number of years under a guy called Craig Dick.
Yes.
Which the names, my name and his name, doesn't escape me how funny that is. At the time, I would have hated it, but now it's piss funny.
Yeah,
but,
well, if you can laugh about it, that's character building.
Yeah, that's I guess that's where I very first ever started. And then when I was in grade 6, I trained under a guy called Graham Long, which you'd remember who he is. He trained a little while with Zeph.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. So, but I found him to be a lot stricter, and I found that to be a lot more beneficial.
Yes.
So yeah, and then from there, that's where I first hooked up with Scotty Humphreys and Zeph and Dretzier.
Yeah. And the rest is history, as they say.
That's it.
So, fast forward years, we probably developed a friendship during high school.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know what triggered it, but I think it was a case of you dragged me along one night, hey, come and check this out.
Yeah.
And
pretty much.
Yeah. And from there, that was it. I was in hook, line and sinker.
That's it.
We were watching UFCs and all sorts of stuff.
Well, I can remember going to your house and stuff all the time because I didn't want to be at home.
Yeah.
Story to that. But, I tended to find that, being at your house and being at Tim Saywood's house was just, I don't know, a bit of a glimpse of how life was when things weren't abusive, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
And just, I don't know, I felt like I was one of the extra kids.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But I didn't just remember you guys were right into, ninjutsu and ninja movies and all kinds of shit. And I was like,
There's always something on the TV, wasn't there?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
There's some bloody Van Damme thing going on. And I was like, right,
Actually, I'll stop you there. Going back to your your martial arts, you said you were always interested in it as a kid.
Yeah.
So was that through movies, media, books?
That's actually difficult to recall.
So I know you're a massive Bruce Lee fan.
Yeah, I actually think that was probably the start of it. Seeing Enter the Dragon, actually.
Yes. Okay.
And Big Boss and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think that was the start. That was probably my earliest recollection of martial arts.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sorry, mate, going back.
Oh, that's all good.
You're at our place watching shitty movies.
Oh, yeah, watching like American Ninja 5 and stuff, and it was just like...
Probably 20.
Let's go, guys. I got somewhere where we can do this for realsies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, took you along and, did all that really wonky training where we laid the shit out of trees and chopped stuff with swords and fired arrows into the air and nearly shot ourselves in the head.
That's all the character moves.
In hindsight, it was some dangerous shit.
Yeah.
It was strap our legs to the trees and, do it Van Damme style.
Yeah.
Which is, in hindsight, very dangerous.
Oh, there's some silly things you do as kids, but you just don't know any better. And unfortunately...
Good times.
No one's there to say, hey, boys, do it this way. Or, you know. So, training under Zeph for quite a long period of time until he moved interstate for work.
Yeah.
And that was... What rank did you get to under him?
Well, I mean, originally we were practicing a style called Shindukai.
Yes.
Which was just basically Kyokushin under another name. They removed a lot of the Kion out of it. And all the katas were gone, which I think is a massive shame. Because once you train in a style for it...
Did you have that same perspective back then?
Back then, I hated it. I hated kata.
Do you think that's because it purely wasn't taught to you or the way it was taught? Because I'm like you now, the older I am, I can really see the benefits of it.
I believe I didn't understand it.
Yes.
I think that was the problem. And because it was removed, I had a very narrow view. I was all about the fighting.
Kumite.
The fighting side of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, Kyokushin's primarily about the 3Ks, which is Kumite, kata and Kion.
Yes.
And everything else in between, obviously, depends up to the instructor, I suppose. But, I mean, we really didn't get that memo.
Yes.
Because it was all about what
Kumite, that was
and what
it.
didn't.
Yeah.
And even my perception of what Kumite actually was different back then. I thought Kumite was fighting. It's not.
Yeah.
Kumite means to combine.
Yes.
So, back then it was all fighting. And, I suppose it was that way because, too, looking at it, if you showed any sign of weakness when we were going to school, you had your ass kicked.
Yeah, it got capitalised on.
So you had to learn how you handle yourself. And actually, like I started training in Shindukai with Zeph in Upper Burnie.
Yes.
I actually missed that dojo.
The old Zeph Centre.
Yeah. That was brutal. It was concrete floor.
Yeah. Sweat box in summer and then freezer in winter.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So, it was great. Good times. The training was just brutal, borderline cruelty.
Yes.
But, now, I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's forged you and you realise what hardship is.
That's right.
Yeah.
And actually, one of my fondest memories of when we were in high school, be grade 9.
Yep.
There was a group of bullies. They were pretty notorious for ganging up on people.
Okay.
A lot of boxes and a lot of things like that. And I can remember I was catching the bus to go to training one time, and I was kind of sitting there and 8 weeks beforehand, these guys had got stuck into me really bad, beat me up, and I'll share this with you because I don't like talking about it, but I think as a part of the healing process, it's good to come to terms with. But was thrown into the urinal, urinated on, and heavily humiliating, and I didn't. You just
block that out, and
it's hard to admit to be honest with you, because to relive it, you got to kind of tap into some of those emotions that
Yes.
you felt at the time.
Yep.
So it it was tough, and I was faced with giving up the gift of life. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
So I and this was around the time I was going to your house all the time. by the
Okay.
way. So it all coincides.
Yes.
And I can remember walking home because I missed the bus.
Yes.
And, it was raining. And I was actually glad because I didn't want to smell like
Yes.
urine. Got home and, I was late. My mother was very fire first, ask questions later.
Yep.
So, I kind of endured that.
Yes.
And wasn't given an opportunity to explain myself. I went and had a shower, went to training, and I trained like absolute shit.
Yep.
That night. And then at the end of the session, Zeph said to me, he goes, why
What's happening?
He was a brutal taskmaster
Yeah.
back then. And he was like, why did you train like that? And I let it all out and told him exactly what was going on. And he gave me the hardest kumite session of my life.
Right.
I could barely walk for about 8 weeks. 4 weeks.
Yeah.
4 weeks it was. I couldn't walk properly and I was devastated. I was so mad at him.
Yeah.
And it was the only time I ever talked back to him, by the way.
Yeah.
I trusted you, and I hate you, and all this other stuff. And he grabbed me by the lapel of the gi, and he said, "Do your bullies ever beat you like that?" And I was like, "No." And he goes, "Then what's stopping you?" And just something in me just went pop. And then he goes, "Let's go," and I just flew at him.
Yep. Yep.
And I can't even remember the details of what happened, but I can remember him at the end of it. Big bash on the back. Good. And then, it was really euphoric after that. I felt really empowered. Fast forwarding to when these guys all kind of got me in a semicircle, one of them, the ringleader, he was just saying some horrible shit. And I stood up because I knew what was coming next.
Yep.
And he pushed me and he sliced me open with one of his nails along the lip.
Right.
Didn't hurt, but I could taste my own blood.
Yep.
And then, he made some joke about a bleeding crack.
Okay.
And then I just lost my shit.
That was it?
Stood up, and then the next thing I know...
So this is still on the bus, off the bus?
No, this was off the bus.
Okay.
The next thing I know, Mr. Davies and Mr. Jones and...
Oh, so it's at school?
All these male teachers were carrying me spread-legged up to the office because I just blacked out and...
Flipped the fuck out.
Beat the piss out of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fucking...
So, good times.
Well, I've never known that, but that coincides and explains quite a few things, but your work ethic as well.
Yeah.
So do you, in times of difficulty, can you see yourself drawing back to those moments to think, well, fuck, I've been through harder shit than this. I've been bashed worse than this, so to speak.
Look, I think they were just stepping stones to the bigger picture.
Yep.
And it depends on whether people believe in karma or not, I suppose. But I think on a karmatic level, I was supposed to endure those kinds of things.
Yes.
Just as a part of the forging process,
Yep.
And, I mean, here's another truth for you that I didn't even know this until a few years ago. I was always about not getting my license. Didn't want to get my license, which I got my full car license.
Yeah.
I was doing driving lessons with my wife, and it turns out that I had a panic attack.
Okay.
Which I'd been having those
for as long as you can remember.
Life, but
wow.
I managed it with aggression.
Right. Okay.
And every time I got confronted with this anxiety feeling, I used to do stupid shit or used to combat it with jumping in the deep end. And I didn't actually know what I was doing, but I was self-medicating using martial arts training.
Yeah, okay.
I went to the doctor, it was a psychologist. Went to the psychologist and he was like, right, fill out this graph. I had to fill out the graph and he's like, you have a anxiety disorder. He gave it a name.
Yep.
I don't care. And he's like, what you'll need to do is take this medication for... And I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yep.
Once I realised that I had an anxiety disorder, I was good with it.
You can manage it.
Because I've been managing it my whole life.
Yes.
So now I can identify when it's happening, because I've had to.
Yep.
Compartmentalise what's going on.
How does that work? For me, growing up with you, being in your shadow... You're certainly one of the toughest motherfuckers I knew. And I think it's this day and age where guys are actually starting to come out of their shell and think, fuck, well, I've got an issue. I'm going to stick my hand up and get help. So for you to have that so-called vulnerability, were you questioning yourself and your...
Teenage years were... I felt like I was mad, like I was going crazy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'd have this rush of feelings and emotions. That's why I played up so much in school.
Yeah, okay.
And the only time where I felt like I was truly me, where it was quiet, was in the dojo training. And every time I felt that way, like I'd combat it with aggression and I'd chase the very things that made me feel that way. Which is why I liked fighting so much.
Yep.
Because it terrified me.
Yeah, okay.
But more than that, you'd get this massive panic attack and you'd tremble. I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
But, again, I'm comfortable with it. I don't care anymore.
And I imagine you have that bit of a release as well.
Well, yeah, and then you get those endorphins and the world kind of slows down after a good session.
Yep. Bloody oath.
And, you're just alone with your thoughts and nothing seems so bad anymore.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's awesome. Favourite memory to date in regards to your training? Actually, I'll take it a step back, Stephen. That period of time, as I said, Zeph went into state for work.
Yeah.
Then I believe there was another dojo in Hobart you aligned yourself with. Is that right?
Yeah, well, Zeph used to come and go quite a bit. And at the time, I didn't understand it because... at the time, he was my hero.
Yes.
He was who I wanted to be, Zeph.
Yes.
Until I realised that Zeph was just kind of grooming me to be myself.
Yes.
I suppose. I didn't understand it at the time. I was too immature.
Yep.
Plus, there was all that anxiety stuff that I didn't understand what it was. So he used to help me more with that than I realised. So I looked up to him like a brotherly, fatherly figure in a lot of regards. Now, that's not to take away anything from my own father, but I wasn't close with Dad until my brother passed away.
Okay.
Then I became close with Dad. So I was kind of searching for that role model.
Yes.
I guess. And I found it in Zeph. And Scott Humphreys too, by the way.
Yes.
But... when Zeph used to move away, because he was trying to further his own life for his own family, I had a lot of abandonment stuff going on. Because
okay.
I'd
and you moved to Launceston shortly after then, or quite before, didn't you? You were there for a little bit?
He moved away, and then I thought, no, I need to go find myself. So I moved away. I trained Muay Thai, Tung Lung Kung Fu, Judo and Aikido for a while. But I wasn't happy with them. There's nothing wrong with those systems, per se. It just wasn't for me. The discipline wasn't the same.
Yes. And it didn't have Zeph there.
Well, yeah. And I was kind of looking to fill that bit of void.
Yes.
Then moved back and then reconnect. And when I moved back, that's when we crossed over into the Diado Juku.
Yes.
And then from there... I guess, college happened and all these other things, and I'm paraphrasing slightly.
Yeah, women in there too somewhere.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot happened in that time.
Yep.
I mean, then in reflection, then we reconnect. That's when you went to the military. And,
yes.
Then we went back to Kyokushin.
Yes.
And I got to admit, I was as happy as a pig in shit when
Yep.
that happened, because the training was just exactly how I wanted it to be.
Just back to the roots of tradition.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
You know, it was tough, it was hard, it was brutal if you needed it to be, it was gentle if you needed it to be, depending upon your needs.
Yep.
And the discipline was there. It was hard training. You know, it was great.
Yep.
We did definitely link up with Hobart. Rob and Catherine de Souza, Mark Ringwald, and Jeff Rainbow. There was a few others, but they were probably the more prolific of the people that I had interactions with. They were all Shodans at the time.
Yes.
I was, I think, 5th Q.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And they are under IKO 3, you said?
Yeah.
Yep,
Oh,
okay.
well, they've moved on. I don't think Rob and Catherine are training anymore, but don't quote me on that because I don't quite know what they're up to. Mark Ringwald's now the 3rd sensei in Tassie.
Yep.
And Cheyenne Judd Reed. So he's in the Chikara branch.
Yes.
And I'm ever since I've come back to Kyokushin, which is it'll be 20 years this year now, I guess, of training in Kyokushin.
Yeah.
I've been under Gary Vickers, Xian Cho, Gary.
Oh yeah,
Vickers,
yeah.
and have done since then. So I haven't changed branches or anything. I'm pretty loyal to Xian Cho.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's given me absolutely every opportunity. So, you know,
nice.
Ever since, you know, Zeph left,
yep.
I didn't have a teacher.
Yes.
So I'd go probably 3 times a year, train with the Hobart people.
Yes.
Until Shodan, but that was very far and few between.
Yeah, okay.
Mostly I was training myself.
Yeah.
You know, Xian Cho would come over at those same times. So.
Oh wow.
Other than meeting up with them, yeah, Xian Cho's my teacher, so
yes,
I see him 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
You know, he tells me what I'm doing wrong and I fix it.
Yeah. That's cool.
So, yeah.
What is even this is like a 50-part question. When you were first up and coming under Zeph, what was your favourite and least favourite technique, and then compare that to now?
My favourite technique.
Can I have a guess?
Yeah, you can
it's
guess.
Just get on Moshigiri.
Bloody hell. Yeah. And it still is.
Yeah.
It is my favourite kick. I say the best because it's the best for me.
Well, see, I firmly believe it is the trademark technique of Kyokushin.
Yeah.
That's what they're infamous for.
Yep.
And even when high-level practitioners go to K1 or MMA, that's always like, this guy's from Kyokushin, look out for his leg kicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and I've spent... I mean, even when I was doing Sanchikai and a few other bits and pieces, I was always utilising that leg kick.
Yes.
You know? Just... Not because it was easier. Actually, it's not. Once you have the technique, you have the technique. But it was actually really difficult to develop the technique.
Of course. Then you've got to land it.
That's right.
Assuming your opponent's just standing there.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, my big thing is Gidam Moshigiri is not just Gidam Moshigiri. There's all the angles.
Yes.
There's where to kick. There's where to
inside,
kick.
Outside, calf. Yeah.
Front and back leg.
Yep. Yep.
Can you hit the calf? You know, can you hit the back of the knee with it?
Yeah.
You know, what happens when you hit the TFL? What happens when you hit the ITB?
Yep.
You know, there's all these applications to that particular
for one single technique, yeah.
You know, and that's front or back, you know.
Yes.
You know. I love it. But I mean, that said, some people have techniques that they do that are their favourite, you know.
Yes.
Like I know guys from the mainland, they love Shodan wash.
Yep.
You know, Jordan wash, you know. Another technique I tend to have a lot of success with, especially when I was competing, was Soto Oroshi Kakoto Geri. So the axe kick, outside axe, because you just lift it up and then you just drop it down. And it just, you know, works really well. Another favourite technique of mine is the Domawashi.
Yes, yep, okay.
That's good fun. and it just hits like a freight train. I practice it all the time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just because it's fun to do.
Yeah.
You know? and it's really good to develop. Utilising the more shigeris. I like doing the double tap.
Yes.
Bang bang.
Yep.
That's cool to practice. Again, it's fun.
Yes.
I like trying it out. I like doing it. I like making it work on a bag. I like bringing it into kumite.
Yeah.
I love watching people do it. As far as punches are concerned, I really love. It's kind of my own little technique. It's halfway between shita-ski and furiuchi. It's this 45-degree angle. Instead of having your hand inverted, I bring it that way and I drive the top two knuckles.
So it just catches people out because they don't sort of know what it is?
Yep, and they'll bring their arms in and it just drives in underneath. I love it. Good fun.
On the flip side, least favourite. What are ones you either couldn't quite work, didn't work for your body type, or techniques you've just gone, that's utter shit?
Look, I actually think that...
It doesn't even need to be a Kyokushin technique.
No, as far as techniques are concerned, absolutely every technique has its time and its place.
Yes.
The technique itself, whether or not it's suited to that particular person, is irrelevant. I think it outlines whether or not you understand it.
Yes.
So, for a long time, I really didn't understand Morotai Uchiuke.
Yes.
I didn't. I thought to myself, when the fuck would you ever use that?
Yep.
So I did. I was a security guard for 5 years before my wife got hurt, and then I decided to become a massage therapist. So in security, I didn't understand that particular technique, and then all of a sudden one day I did. When I had a massive group of people, I was dealing with a troublesome client, patron, whatever you want to call him.
Arsehole.
Wanker. Yeah. And then one of his mates, they were footballers, he stepped up to the side and, did the whole big chest bump thing. And,
right.
And then next thing you know,
it comes.
Out comes Morotai Uchiuke, and I put him on his ass, knocked him flying, and I was like, wow,
there you go.
That's what that technique.
Chalk that up. Yep.
Now I like it.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
I don't tend to have techniques that I don't like so much.
Yes.
There are techniques that you struggle to master.
Yes.
But
that's the way karate should be, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's so much whether or not I like the technique. It's more or not whether I understand the bunkai of it.
Yes.
Nowadays, so that's. I think that's more it. I don't really have any techniques that I don't like.
Yes.
I practice every technique the same way I practice the Gidan Moshigiri.
Yes,
just the
okay.
Moshigiri is my favourite.
Yep.
You know.
Did you find, because I know growing up, Zeph was never a fan of sidekicks, the Yokogiri. So, and I know for a fact that impacted me because he'd probably teach it once a year, twice a year, if that sort of thing. Yeah. And obviously kata's the same. When it was time for grading, like 2 months out, maybe he'd start doing kata.
Yeah.
Do you find that, especially for the Yokogiri, I'm going to ask, that has impacted your technique? Because you said it never had that, the amount of reps you would have with any other kick.
See, when I used to practice Sanchikai, sidekick was their go-to technique.
Right, okay.
So I already had that foundation there.
Yes.
And when Zeph moved away, and I cut back to middleweight for competing,
yes,
I had to go back to more of a natural way of fighting because I used to
get in, just muscle in and just go toe-to-toe.
That was my thing. And then I thought, you know what, this isn't working so well. I can do it, but I actually don't like it.
And there's not much longevity to that, is there? Like career-wise, it can come to a grinding halt.
As soon as you get a person that knows how to fight that way, they will outfight you. Yeah. And they will hit you in ways. I actually, the thing that made me stop doing that was when I fought Judd Reed
in Sydney.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was I was second Q, and it was like my second tournament ever.
Yes. Okay.
And straight up, open division, third Dan Judd Reed, and I was like, fuck.
But you had to fight him twice, didn't you?
What's that?
Did you fight him twice in that time?
No.
No?
Just
Okay.
fought him the once.
Yeah.
You know, it was 3-minute rounds. I lasted 2 minutes. He kicked the fuck out of me.
Yeah, okay.
You know, because I just fought how I had always fought.
Right.
And it had worked really well up until then.
Yeah.
And then, he just smashed me, kicked me in ways that I'd never been kicked before. I found Zeph could kick harder.
Yes.
But Judd could hit me in...
Just bang in the right place.
He hit me in the left arm and nailed me in between the bicep and tricep and disabled the nerves in my arm
okay.
to the point where I couldn't feel my left hand anymore. So I had to tuck it in to keep myself protected.
And there's one weapon gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, because I had a mean left hand Orochi ski, you know, and I used to hit people right up in the collarbone there and just below up into the upper clavicular
so where the
sternum
pec meets
area.
Yeah.
And that was a really good technique, and I couldn't even use it because he
Wow.
just disabled my arm. You know, I checked one of his kicks, and he just switched his footwork and got me straight up in the calf, right at the soleus where the soleus joins the calf. Hit me right there, and like I lost the feel in my foot, and I was like, I can't beat this guy. Like he conquered me within the first 30 seconds of that fight.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Rewind a little. What were you doing for training before that tournament?
And
obviously you said that was your second tournament, so at your first tournament you had success with that fighting style of just biting your mouthpiece and going forward.
Yeah. So that was in the 4th and 3rd Q division, which is intermediates. And
yes.
Got second in Australia.
Wow.
First tournament. So I was pretty happy with that. I was middleweight at the time.
Which is what weight, Steve?
At the time, that's the divisions are quite small, really. In the smaller divisions, it was 70 to 80 kilos.
Yes, okay.
So I weighed 73 at the time. And, like I found that and I dislocated my right knee a week before. Yeah. So my knee, I just used this really restrictive tape, and I was I'd been working on all this stuff because Zeph was present for that. See, so I was 4th Q at the time, and which is
so this is for the first tournament.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And we were working on like off the front switch axe kicks and all this really cool stuff.
So was there ever a conversation of, hey, you popped your knee, maybe you should rethink?
Yeah, well, there was, but
30-second conversation.
I wouldn't accept it. I was like, no, I'm doing it anyway.
Yep, okay.
I'd already had my medical from the doctor, so I was good to go.
Tape it up, it's fine.
Like, geez, what do I do? I missed 2 training sessions, and it was a loose meniscus.
Okay.
On the right leg. Fuck. So it could have been a tear. It wasn't. And this is before rock tape, so...
Right, okay.
You know, so I just used strapping tape and strapped the right side, and I actually found I couldn't kick with my left leg because I couldn't pivot.
Sure.
So I was restricted to front kick with the right leg kick with the right leg, and I couldn't do anything else.
Yeah, okay.
So I just went 1, 2, leg, 1, 2, leg, 1, 2, front, 1, 2, 3, leg, bread and butter.
Yeah.
And it just worked.
Yeah, okay.
You know, and I was like, yeah, that was good. I tried that shit on Judd and he beat the piss out of me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because it was a completely different league of fighter, you know.
Okay.
So, that you know, I was doing 6-minute rounds on a bag, 30 seconds break, and I was doing about 20 of those.
Yeah, all right.
With training with Judd, I only had 2 students, a guy who would become my first black belt, who doesn't train anymore, Dale Heald, and another guy who doesn't train anymore, Rob Wally.
Okay.
There was only the 3 of us, and to prep for it, I used to go down underneath my house at the time, and I had this bag. I nicknamed it Ming the Merciless because it was like a bluey green colour.
Yeah.
And it was filled with sawdust.
Yeah,
so
okay.
it was like kicking a tree limb.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just used to wail on it and have them wail on me while I was wailing the bag because they weren't to the same fighting standard that I was. So I didn't have anybody to put me through my paces at that time.
Yep.
So that was cool. but it was flawed, and I had to re-look at everything. And then, like, I suppose I fought a few more tournaments after that.
So sorry, you've had your fight with Judd.
Yep.
How does your training change after that moment?
For starters, I started looking at how to move. I did a little bit of training here and there with a fantastic karateka. He's a Shodan now, but he was a senpai at the time, Scott McQuaid.
Okay.
He came over and did a bit, and then there was...
So was he running seminars, or what was it?
No, he came... Well, we... after that, I started to change how things were with moving my feet.
Okay.
Because I was naturally agile, and I decided, right, I'm heavy, because I was in a heavyweight division that year when I fought Judd.
So what weight were you then?
I was 93 kilos.
Wow,
I was doing a lot of weightlifting.
Yes.
Probably the wrong weights, actually, in hindsight, because afterwards I got a lot of injuries out of it just because...
Right.
Just overtraining, really.
Yeah, okay. And did you also find, Steve, that's a massive 20 kilo jump from 73 to 93.
Bloody-o.
Came at a sacrifice of speed and agility? Or not so much?
No. I could still punch and kick every bit as hard and fast.
Yep.
I could hit harder. I could punch just as fast.
Yeah.
Kick just as fast. It was actually moving
Right.
my entire body.
Yep.
That was the hard bit.
Yeah.
I lost a bit of that agility.
And what about cardio wise? Like you're pushing a bigger engine?
No, I was
Pretty
heavily working. I didn't know it at the time, but I was heavily working lactic threshold.
Yep, okay.
So because that's what most Kyokushin tournaments are based on.
Yeah.
Lactic threshold. So I even then knew
that's the way to train.
That's the way to train.
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing. And then I would do a fair bit of seminars with Shan Cho. He'd come over.
Yes.
Then the 2006 World Cup happened. I went and fought that year.
In Sydney again?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was eliminated in the Nationals, but I fought a guy and I lost by decision in that fight, but I kicked the shit out of his legs.
Okay.
And at the sayonara party, I had Hanshi, John Taylor, and Sheehan, Tony Bowden, Sheehan Cho, Gary Vickers. They all decided that they wanted me on the team. They wanted to give me a shot.
Nice.
In the heavyweight division, because World Cup and World Tournament are different.
Yep.
World Cup's weight divisions.
Okay.
World Tournament is open division.
Right.
That's a story for a moment. But
we'll pencil that one in. We'll get to it.
Yeah. So I got selected for that, which I was really chuffed at the opportunity.
And that is in Japan?
No, the World Cup was in Sydney that year.
Okay. It's held in different places each year. Yes.
Yeah. And it was 2 weeks before my black belt grading.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
was there any politics involved in that? Because they only like to take higher ranking students or anything like that?
As far as when I did my Shodan, for example, I only fought Shodans and above.
Sure. Okay.
And that was the 40-man.
Yep.
So, so that's slowly being phased out in other branches and in other...
And that was in Hobart, though?
Yeah.
So they flew some Shodans in?
I did my Shodan grading in the very first ever dojo that was in Tasmania that was a strictly Kyokushin dojo. And that was in Kingston.
Okay.
So that was held there. So it was kind of historic
in
that way. Plus... Zeph was a Shodan in Kyokushin.
Yep.
But he was graded in the mainland.
Yes.
Many years ago, nobody from the north of Tasmania had ever been graded to Shodan.
Ah, right. Okay.
So, my grading prep, I had a couple of people come up on occasion to help me out with a bit of stuff. I'd meet up with Shan Cho, go to camps and do things like that. But for the most part, I just practiced things
On your own, yeah.
by myself. And then, the World Cup where I fought a Maori gentleman.
Yes.
And I knew I won the fight.
Fair and square,
before I was 96 kilos. I was, I think, 5% body fat at the time. Just
ready to kill.
Aggressive, mean, had something to prove to the world.
Okay.
Which was actually, I had to prove it to myself.
Yep.
And, I went out there and just, laid into this guy. And, won by two Wazaris, which is Ippon victory.
Yes.
The first one was... and I was with 2 leg kicks. It was good. Yeah. 2 leg kicks I won it with. I got penalised, though, because I did an Oroshi ski, hit him in the collarbone, and he sput his mouth guard, and they thought that I punched
hit him in the mouth.
Head,
okay.
Which I didn't, but I took it on the chin, and I was like, right.
So he didn't contest that or anything?
No. He wasn't
privy to it.
He wasn't taking a soccer dive. It hurt him that bad that it dropped him, and it probably should have been.
But he didn't have the opportunity to say, "Hey, ref, no, he didn't hit me in the face."
Because I hit him, and his mouth guard came flying out.
Right.
That's
And
that's how hard
4 judges.
Well, a couple of them
just the referee who said, "Hey,"
didn't see, and a couple of them thought, because it came down.
Right. Okay.
They were like, head, and the referee had to call it. He was like, right, no. It was a chewy itchy. It wasn't Genten, thank fuck. But yeah, it was chewy itchy, which is a warning.
Yes.
And I was like, right, all right, I've got to stay away from that technique. Then in the second round, I fought a Ukrainian, and he was amazing. He caught me with a Brazilian question mark kick off the front leg, knocked me the fuck out.
Wow.
Like he lured me in first. He lifted his elbow, and I saw it, and I moved in, and I went for a furiuchi to hit him in the ribs, but it was a ploy.
Right.
And then I don't remember anything after that.
Fuck.
Yeah.
There is something to be said about that Eastern European bloc of countries in Kyokushin.
Yeah. They. I tend to find that third world countries and Kyokushin people, their Kyokushin fighting is on another level.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
For starters, they do tournaments every month.
Okay.
Right? And their living conditions are so much more difficult than ours.
Yes.
So for them, Kyokushin is an outlet. Plus, you've got to take into consideration too that in a lot of the European countries, they get subsidised by the government. So they get paid to be... all their fees and everything are covered for.
Oh, right. Wow.
Plus, in a lot of instances, there would be some deals where they get remedial treatment or physios, and things like that. So they actually get subsidies by the government to actually go and compete.
Yeah, okay.
So that makes a hell of a lot of difference because, and I suppose that says a lot for the elitist mentality that they have towards their athletes, which is why their athletes tend to be so exceptional.
Yes.
Look at the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly.
Third world countries tend to dominate for the most part, or people that can throw a lot of money into the development. Whereas you look at Kyokushin in Australia, it's down to the individual fighter for the most part.
Yes.
And fundraising. Like our government's not interested.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, it's not swimming or doesn't have a ball.
No, that's it. That's it.
End of the day. I just wanted to touch on something then, going back to that. Obviously, you got knocked out.
Yep.
Is that the first time you've been knocked out of a tournament?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah, it was my first knockout in tournament. I've been knocked out in training before,
How have you found...
Thank you, Sensei Zeph, by the way.
Head trauma. There's been massive amount of studies done into it over the last decade. Especially, it's become more prevalent now with returned servicemen, post-traumatic stress, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Guys have been getting barefooted to the head in Kyokushin for the last 60, 70 odd years in tournaments. Have you found... I guess this is one thing I was always slightly intimidated about getting back into Kyokushin,
Yeah.
it's a young man's game. If you want to go to that competition level.
Yes. Just on that, though, those big knockouts that you see, they're rare.
Yeah, okay.
Like, for the most part, especially if you're looking at the world tournament scene and things like that, or in the open division, they're elite fighters. For the most part. You do get some people that have been multiple black belts in other styles and then come in the novice division and wipe it out, which...
It'd be few and far between, though, wouldn't it?
I think that probably needs looking at, because I don't think that's right. But for the most part, I mean, those big knockouts like that are rare. It is an issue, but at the same time, there's always a risk in any kind of combat-based fighting art, and they all have them. Like with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's the destruction of limbs,
spinal column.
Exactly.
Yep.
So you know, you've got neck impingements and things like that. And if you water absolutely everything down and bubble wrap absolutely everything,
we'll be playing Fortnite.
Well, yeah, you know, like it's legality gone mad.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've got to understand too that it's between two consenting adults.
Yes.
If someone, like, I'm warrior-minded, I suppose. So if two people go out, they need to identify the risks. And if it's not your cup of tea, then definitely don't do it.
Yeah.
There is non-contact options. I'm personally not interested in it, but that doesn't mean that I won't train people to be a non-contact competitor. And I like as a sensei, as a teacher, it's my responsibility to be a mirror. I need to be whatever the student needs me to be at the time. So if they need non-contact work, then I bust my ass to make sure that they're as prepared as possible. And if somebody doesn't want to compete and they're not interested, then that shouldn't be an issue either.
Yep.
You know, but I mean, as far as head trauma is concerned, I mean, your window for actively competing in Kyokushin, because it is such a demanding martial art, is quite small.
Yes, very much so.
So you'll see in boxing, boxers tend to hang on for just that little bit too long.
Yes.
And they're nothing but head punches for the most part.
Yeah.
So the head trauma there is much more sustained.
And also, I'm sure I've read studies where they've said repeated blows with a cushioned fist is actually worse than a bone causing a knockout straight away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think of it like this. Like if you look at the bare knuckle component, if we was to add bare knuckle punches into the face in Kyokushin, fights would last a hell of a lot less time because it would be more direct, boom, 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 boom.
Yes.
Or they'd be a hell of a lot messier.
Yes.
Right? Which is, I think, the reasoning why they don't do it.
Yeah.
For seconds, a lot of the techniques would change to palm heel
Yes.
because most people don't spend the time conditioning their hands. Now, I'm old school Kyokushin in that regard. I don't pad.
Yep.
The padding I do is mouth guard, groin guard, and that's about it.
Yep.
Because you lose that sensation of feel.
Yes.
You know?
And the other element to that, if it was, you'd find a lot of people be busting their hands straight away.
Yep. Fights would last about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Or under.
Yeah.
You know, because they'd punch somebody in the scalp.
Yep.
They may damage the eye socket, they may not, but then again, their hand's shattered.
Yeah.
You know, because that old Okinawan Uchiru principles of conditioning are gone.
Yes.
In my dojo, I've got what I call a tyre dummy.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, I've made a makiwara made out of tyres,
yeah,
and I hit that son of a bitch every lesson.
Yeah, okay.
Forearms, hands, fingertips, shin bones, heels, you name it. I'll slam my shoulders into it.
Yeah.
You know, just because you can never be too conditioned.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I fought in the one match against Jason Walker in 2011, he was ranked 4th in the world at the time.
Okay.
And I agreed to fight him. That was an agreement. He was 10 kilos heavier than me. First round, I would say, was my round.
Okay.
Second round, you know, he dropped me. So, and that's his experience coming out.
Yes.
But that said, I probably, because he was a lot shorter than me, he could just get in underneath my guard,
Right.
and kept kicking me in the ribs over and over and over again.
Okay.
Probably wore about 40 Shodan Mawashigiri, right? And
Any crack ribs?
Oh yeah. I got a hairline fracture in the rib. I didn't find it until the next day, because I went back to training the next day. But and that I attribute to when you're training in Kyokushin, you chamber very high, and the way to make sure that you are chambering correctly is you slam that tetsui.
Yes.
You slam that.
It's an elbow technique, isn't it?
And you drive it back and you hit yourself in the damn ribs every time.
Yep.
I don't specifically condition to get hit in the ribs.
Yeah, okay.
They're now naturally tough because I've bashed them over the years with repetition so many times that I can just absorb the blows, and the intercostals, the fascia in it's probably fucked from getting hit so much, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So out, I don't want to use the age word, but as you've experienced, you've had your fair share of injuries as well.
Oh, yeah.
And you've had multiple drums with your hip.
Yeah. Like at the current point in time, knowledge of remedial massage, physio, and other therapies. When we were growing up, it was like, oh, you're being a fucking pussy.
Yep.
What do you need a massage for?
Do another 5Ks.
That kind of thing. And nowadays, the knowledge that remedial massage therapy and dry needling and cupping therapy and all of those kind of things are really, really good for assisting with fascia, because most chronic injuries, from my own research, and if somebody has better information on that, feel free to throw it my way because I'll read it. From what I understand is a lot of chronic injuries are actually a problem with fascia.
Yes.
Connective tissue.
Yep.
Because it's like a spider's web through your body. Like when you learn anatomy in massage therapy, they dwell heavily on the skeletal system,
yes,
as they should. They dwell heavily on the muscular system, as they should, and they touch loosely on fascia.
Right, okay.
But that's insane because fascia connects bones to bones, it connects bones to muscle, it connects muscle to muscle.
Yeah.
It's arguably the binding system. Whereas many years ago, when doctors used to carve up cadavers, they thought that fascia was just a filler.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
A bit like a milkshake.
Yeah.
They'd chuck it aside, and realistically, as it relates to Kyokushin and training, as you get older, you lose that collagen and you get the depletion of elastin, which are all fascia-based. So that tightens as you get older. You've got to stretch more, not less.
Yes.
And you have to allocate more time to warming up.
Yes.
But you also have to really make sure that you pay attention to not only flexibility and mobility, but you have to pay attention to that remedial treatment.
Just the rehab in general,
and taking your own treatment into responsibility.
Yeah, very much so.
There's a lot of shit that you could be doing at home that...
100%.
If you maintained it instead of going and trying to get a physio to fix it for you.
Yep. You won't be limping down the road when you're 40, 45 or something.
That's it,
It's amazing though. I mean, I remember as kids when we used to do a session, it'd be lucky to be a fucking 30-second warm-up.
Yep.
And like now, you fucking hit your head against the wall going, oh, if only I'd done that.
No, that's right.
Yeah. And especially most people, you've mentioned their flexibility. Everyone could easily do the splits if they were dedicated to a flexibility program. But how many people, everyone focuses on the conditioning side and whether it be whatever their sport or hobby is, but everyone does a quick little 3-minute stretch at the end of it.
Or when they do their flexibility training, they don't address all levels of flexibility. They go, oh, yeah, they'll stretch their hamstrings. Or they'll stretch their adductors and nothing else.
Yep.
And I'm like, what about the rest of your leg, you fucking Peter?
Yeah.
You've got the outside of your leg.
Yep.
The ITB is one of the biggest portions of fascia in your damn body. That and your Achilles tendon.
Yep.
And if you don't stretch them, guess what happens? They break.
They're not getting any looser.
That's right.
Exactly.
or your quadriceps. I tend to find, you look at Kyokushin with the explosive nature of the way that they move, the way they push off when they're advancing on an opponent and moving through Zenku Tadachi, or when you're sitting in Kokotsu Dachi, Keibudachi, those quadriceps are taking an absolute hammering right next to your quads as your bloody TFL, which attaches to that ITB. And then that creates like a rotation of the hip. So it'll angle your hips forward, which is what I'm enduring at the moment, by the way.
Yeah, okay.
On the left side, because you get kicked a hell of a lot more in the left leg.
Yep.
From right-handed people, right-legged people. So that set of fascia tends to get tough as nails. Unfortunately, it also
comes at a cost, doesn't it?
As flexible as corrugated iron, and then it creates another problem. So now, I have to allocate a hell of a lot of time into mobility and flexibility, and I find dry needling and cupping are really good. Cupping's not well understood, especially myofascial cupping. What it tends to do is, with cupping, people think, oh yeah, it clears your blood. Don't think so, Sonny Jim. It might, but that's the job of your liver and your kidneys.
Yeah.
What it's for is it's designed to lift up all the levels and layers of muscle and fascia.
Okay.
In like a vacuum. And what it'll do is anything that's kind of caught in the muscle through adhesion and through lesions or through calcification tends to come to the surface of the skin.
Okay.
And the inguinal system breaks it up, right? We call it marking because it's that stupid PC bullshit soft language.
Right.
It's a fucking bruise is what it is.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not a contusion bruise where you
direct
like
trauma.
a corky.
Yeah.
It's just, that's another way of the body breaking it up.
Yeah.
Instead of dumping it all into the lymphatic and the endocrine system.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. So
marking, there you go. Bit of terminology I learnt today. Marking. Cool. I prefer bruising though.
Nah, it's cooler.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Your current dojo now. Tell me about that.
Basically, it's a club. I run it as a club.
Yes.
Mainly because I don't want it to be a money-making enterprise.
Sure.
So that I can stick to the very strict discipline of Kyokushin.
Yes.
And, it doesn't, when people come in, they know exactly what they're getting themselves in for.
Yes.
I've got a golden rule. It's compulsory you watch a class.
Yep.
Because if you don't have the dedication and the self-discipline to sit and watch a class, you're not going to hang.
You probably don't have it to be there. Yeah.
You'll train for 6 months and piss off when the game gets tough.
Yeah.
I also give people 2 free lessons just to see if it's their cup of tea.
Yes.
Plus, I also get to decide whether or not I want to accept them as a student. Because if somebody has maturity behavioural issues that can be addressed at home, sometimes that might be the best course of action. Look, I don't think that your child possesses the correct level of maturity at the moment.
Come back in 6 or 12 months,
That's
whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
When they've had them things dealt with, respect starts at home.
Yes.
And I find a lot of the times, a lot of people in this day and age don't know how to discipline their children or don't know how to pass on respect. But that said, respect is a two-way street.
Yes, very much so.
So, like you'll have a parent come in and they talk to their child like dog shit.
Okay.
And then wonder why their child doesn't respect them. And it's like, well, look, why don't you come in and train with your child? For starters, they'll see you in a different light. Yep. Right? You're willing to do what they're willing to do because at the moment they just see you as making them do this thing. Yes. Right? With lots of loud yelling and criticism. Yep. But so there's that camaraderie that gets built between parents and children. Plus, the parent gets to understand exactly what they're asking their child to do. And then, for the most part, sometimes kids don't stay and the parents do. Yeah, okay. So that's a thing. But, I mean, I've got anywhere up to 40 kids. Wow. Not all of them come and train at the same time. Yeah. And I don't water anything down. Yeah, okay. It's semi-contact for kids. Yes. Mainly because if they don't I actually let them govern how hard they get hit with a waving of the hand.
Yes.
A no meaning that's too hard for
Yep.
me, or more.
Yeah, okay.
So that way each child gets to individually work out how hard they want to be struck.
Yep.
And also I get final say on that, so that if they want to work harder and I don't think it's safe for them to do so, that's not
Pull
a good
back.
idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, then we increase the speed.
Yes.
So that they're like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
I tend to find that kids and adults are no different.
Yes.
I train adults the same way I train kids, and I train kids the same way I train adults.
So, do you have just one class, bang, everyone's in there?
Or
have you split it up?
I run the option of 3, but the third class is more advanced if there's somebody who wants to work on advanced stuff.
Yes.
But for the most part, I will do a 2-hour session, 2 1-hour sessions back to back.
Yes.
Beginner class is fucking hard.
Yeah.
It's physically demanding.
Yep.
Because the amount of people that don't know how to maneuver their body is phenomenal.
Sure.
So what I do is I kind of run that as an introduction to Kyokushin.
Yes.
I'll say, and I like to switch it up because
right.
I like to switch it up because people get bored,
Yes.
right? So it's like, okay, well, how do I make this so that you are constantly going? So sometimes I'll run key on in a line. Sometimes I'll run parts of kata or bits of kata, and then I'll drop it out, and then we'll go and do something else.
Yep.
Physical exercise.
Yep.
We'll go do bag work, or we'll do. I've got a drill that I call slow kumite.
Yes.
And that relies heavily on discipline. Still done at contact, but it removes a lot of the bulldozing out of the way, so that people have to learn how to maneuver.
Yep.
We'll go light, or sometimes I'll do a drill that I'll call ichi kumite, which is you do a technique, I do a technique. We can run it as a conditioning drill.
Yes.
Or I can run it as you do a technique, I do a technique, but we have to do it at the same time.
Yes, okay.
Right? Or we'll run it as a counter. So you do a technique, and I'm going to try and counter that technique and hit you back, and you've got to try and counter that. So I like kumite, but I also like kumite scenario-related drills. Because I think it keeps things interesting. It develops people's skills.
Yes.
The intermediate class is strictly Kyokushin.
Yes.
That's more. That's more centered around the art.
Yes. Okay.
So I'll have an agenda, and I work to whatever the lowest student is. Lowest, I don't like that term. Whatever the
least experienced person is. Yep. Do you have, in saying that, Steve, do you make yourself a calendar of training? Say, okay, for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to focus on this, or is it just sort of week to week?
Loosely, not per se. Mainly because I like to be able to adapt at the given dime. If we've got someone that's tournament training, I will, whenever I'm working with them, cater to what they're doing.
Sure.
If somebody has gradings coming up, we'll do really specific kind of grade. But if we don't have anything on the agenda at all, it's whatever I feel is needed at the time.
Yep.
Someone will be struggling with such and such. We go, okay, no, all right. I've got 2 Shodans that are actively training in the dojo. Sent by John Lucas, who is in his 30s, only about 33, so he's still quite young. Maybe he's not 33. Sorry, John. If it is.
That gives me hope, mate, by saying 33 is young.
So, but yeah, so he's about 30 years old.
Yeah,
and he's still getting out amongst it. He still goes and competes. And I'll get him to peel away and work whatever.
Yep.
And then I've got another gentleman who is pushing 70, if he's not 70, Senpai Dieter Hafferman.
Did he become Senpai under you? Incredible.
Yep. It was.
We've got to talk about that.
Before he retired from everything, one of my goals was to get his Shodan.
That's fucking awesome.
And every time he got there and he was like, oh, I don't feel confident with this, because he's taken his age into account. And I'm like, no, you can do it.
Yeah.
And I trained with him. I did all the training with him. So,
That's fucking phenomenal.
So,
I've always wondered that. And the age, obviously, that is a massive undertaking for any person at that age, any fucking age over 50. Even 40, to undertake a new physical sort of release or hobby. Yeah, especially a martial art because of what they are. It's not like you're kicking a soccer ball around.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this, I actually find that when it comes to martial arts, as opposed to other contact type sports, it's okay. Yeah, it's hard on your body, but look at it from the other perspective. You get the opportunity and responsibility of being able to take your defense into your account.
Yes.
Whereas if you're charging after a ball and you get tackled from the side, it's the one that you don't see is the one that fucking hurts you.
Yep.
Right. So, and that kind of pedals all the way back to that head contact thing.
Yep.
You've got an opportunity to defend yourself.
Yes.
Whereas if you was to look at gridiron,
and you get blindsided,
boom,
nothing.
Smash to the head.
Yeah.
Even though you've got a helmet on, that doesn't stop the inside of your head touching the brain.
Yep.
So I guess, long story short, is that you're given the skills.
Yes.
And then the defense mechanisms of it is up to you.
Yep. Mate, I'm still fascinated by the 7-year-old.
Yep.
That's insane.
He
So obviously he's got a fucking incredible mindset to be able to work that hard at his age.
We'll talk about Senpai Dieter for a moment. Dieter is a German immigrant.
Okay.
Post World War II.
All right.
He was running around in the wreckage that was Berlin.
Yes.
After World War II. So, he knows.
He knows hardship.
He knows what poverty is.
Yep.
When he was a young man, immigrated to Australia, and he went to Geelong, and he was driving past Shancho Gary Vickers' dojo.
Okay.
Every day.
Yeah.
And then he thought, I've got to travel that way. I might as well call in on the way home. So he trained on the way home after work with Shancho Gary Vickers, and got to Greenbelt.
Yep.
Q. And then
what age was he then, Steve?
Look, he would have been younger than 30.
Okay.
Moved to Tasmania because he got a job in Tasmania. Met his wife down here.
Yes.
Had a family. There was absolutely no Kyokushin. Well, there probably was, but it was in the Hobart in the south. But he was up. He lives in Laponia.
Okay.
So he trained in whatever was available. So he trained in jiu-jitsu, like samurai jiu-jitsu in Wynyard.
Yeah.
And I do believe he got his black belt in that.
Okay.
But, he wasn't happy with it. He trained bits and pieces here and there. He's got a black belt in WTF Taekwondo.
Okay.
Because it was available at the time. And then when Zeph started up at Health Glow, Dieter came along. You would have trained with him, I reckon.
Okay.
Long time ago. He would have been like he wanted to be the longest and most experienced white belt, and I wouldn't let him. I was like, no, that's not happening, dude. Yeah. So, and he used to train. He used to train with what's that guy that used to do a lot of the Kali sticks and stuff?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, ask Al. He's the one who put him to sleep.
Yeah. So he was training with him, and then when I took over, it was only about a month afterwards, Dieter, of me taking over, Dieter started training with me alongside John.
Yes.
I used to train John when he was 14.
Wow.
In the backyard, when he was 14 years old.
Yeah,
He was
okay.
getting bullied at school, and I was 19 or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, maybe I was older. I don't know. It was just prior to me taking over the dojo, actually.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so John was actually my first student.
Okay, so Dieter's trained all this time?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep, and just, like he's an old man. So, sometimes he gets injured and he has to take a break. But he is an amazing man because whenever he doesn't train, he'll run 15 kilometres. He used to be a triathlete as well.
Okay.
So this guy has an amazing work ethic.
Fucking hell.
And it's kind of interesting, his role in the dojo, because, like, the dynamic of the three of us is, you know, me being the sensei and stuff, I kind of get the overview of what needs to happen. Senpai Dita's the good cop.
Yeah.
Senpai John's the bad cop. You know, so whenever people are dicking around, you know, Senpai John's got the big booming voice, and he's like 100-odd kilos.
Yep.
And everyone's like, oh! And then Senpai Dita goes, it's okay, don't take it personal, you know.
That's a good dynamic to have.
I get to laugh on the inside because you can't let them know
Yeah.
that you find it funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or in a podcast. That's all right.
It.
What is... This will sort of tie in for what we've been talking about. The best advice for beginners in your mind, or someone who is thinking about, like, obviously you've had conversations with parents who are watching their kids and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So,
I mean, as we both know, and I've said it before, if Kyokushin was easy, everyone would fucking do it.
That's right. So there's a lot of layers to this question, but let's make it as simple as I can. The hardest part's walking through the door.
Yes.
Right, because you've got to have that little bit of bravery.
Yep.
But the people that I tend to see coming in through the doors that stick at it are people that you wouldn't expect. You know, like one of my students is, and I'm not going to name her just because of privacy reasons, but she's a dancer.
Okay.
And at one stage was a model. And she was attacked when she was at work.
Wow, okay.
And suffers from PTSD.
Right.
So with her, I would never, ever have anticipated that she would have stuck. But she has stuck to it like glue.
Okay. And I would imagine being a dancer, amazing flexibility, good head kicks?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, amazing flexibility, you know. But the PTSD side of it, I work with her.
Yes.
So whenever she's having a rough episode, I drop everything back to slow kumite.
Yep.
So that she doesn't have that meltdown.
Yes.
And we work through breathing exercises so that she can manage her symptoms, because alongside with PTSD is an anxiety component, which I have a little bit of experience with.
Yep. So brilliant. How long has she been at Kyokushin for?
She's been training for nearly 2 years now.
Wow. And I guess it'd be easy to start with you. Have you seen the transformation in her?
Definitely.
Resilience?
So.
Has she been able to sort of...
Yep.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yep. So I do tend to get a lot of people with anxiety issues, you know. So, but I mean, as far as any student coming through the door, there's this myth that you have to be fit first.
No.
It is the biggest pain in my ass.
Yeah.
I'll get fit, then do it. No, mate.
I love that. I love that.
That is you taking on a bit of a victim mentality.
Oh, yeah. It's like saying, when the kids get smarter, I'll send them to school.
I don't expect people to do what I can do.
Yeah.
Right? I don't expect them to jump a damn cliff in a day.
Yep.
But what I do expect them to do is do their very best. I know what's their best and what's not.
Yeah.
I want you to do your best, and I don't want you to give up. If we're running drills, if we're running in the dojo, and we're running laps, right? And I say sprint, and you just physically cannot make your legs maneuver.
Yeah.
Do your best.
Yeah.
If you're that exhausted that you can only walk, you fucking power walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
You walk.
Yeah.
And you do it. I'll do it beside you.
Yeah.
I'll drop back my training to make sure that you can do your training.
Yeah.
You know? So that's something. And, you know, it's the other thing is that I'm direct.
Yes.
And I don't honey the wine. Right?
I like it.
I don't like this soft...
But that comes from how you were taught as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I give praise where it's warranted.
Yes.
And I give criticism where it's warranted.
Yes.
You know, I don't like to talk to the people as a group. You know, okay, we've messed up again. Let's do this yada, 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 yada.
Right, okay.
If somebody has made an error, I'll just say, okay, when you're doing that, you're doing this.
Sure.
Fix it. Otherwise, you'll be talking to the whole group. And the person that you're saying, right, keep your goddamn hands up. Come on, guys, keep your hands up. Come on, ladies, keep your hands up. Is the person oh, I'm not doing that. Yes, you fucking are.
Yeah, yeah.
It's you.
Yeah.
So I've just cut that bullshit out.
Yeah.
Because I hate repeating myself.
Yeah, okay.
So I go up and, I'll say to that person, right, hands up.
Yeah.
Hands too low.
Yeah.
And I always make it very clear that it's nothing personal. I'm not saying this because I don't like you, and I'm not doing it to be mean. But if me telling you to keep your hands up hurts your feelings, then we have work to do on an emotional level.
Yes.
Because you have to condition your emotions
Yeah.
as well, right? As Gordon Ramsay says, no pressure, no diamonds.
Yeah.
And that's the truth, because everybody, I find in this day and age, is looking for a reason to be offended. And uses that to take
the age of
moral
social
high ground.
media.
You
Yeah.
know, oh, you said a naughty word.
Yeah.
I'm offended and I'm right. No, you're a fuckhead.
Yeah.
Get on with your damn life.
Yeah.
Like, it just shows, I think, how immature we
Yes.
are
Yep.
as a society at the moment. So my contribution to that PC culture is fuck your fucking PC culture, and let's make some people of character.
Well, that's the
because
thing.
ultimately, I'm not going to live forever.
Yep.
And I need to make sure I don't give a shit if they forget who I am. That's not what I'm doing. I want to make this community a better place. Yeah, okay, we want to make the world a better place. Let's hold hands and hug. But the way to do that, I think, is you have to do that within your own community.
Yes.
Right? So, if I can get half a dozen people and inspire them enough to continue what I'm doing, or if they don't want to do what I'm doing, but have that same ethics and take it to whatever they're doing, be it their workplace, be it their family, be it whatever, and they can create a more productive and better, consistent environment for the people that they live in,
I'd say that's a win for you.
then I think that my job's done.
Yeah.
Because then that's my contribution to the world to make it a better place.
Yeah.
Changing, you can't change the world per se, but you can change the people that are in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm trying to do.
No, I like that philosophy. And as you said, being a sensei, you've got to put that psychologist hat on, personal trainer hat on, teacher hat on, brother hat on, father, whatever you want. And you've got the ability to identify what your students need. And when you said if that offends someone for you to tell them, hands up, whatever, they've got to realise this guy is only trying to make me a better version of me.
That's it.
Yeah. And everyone's been there. Everyone's walked through that door and, oh, fuck, I'm a white belt,
Well, you tend to... I find praise difficult to manage, right? And I suppose that's probably the humility of the training that we, don't be boastful, don't be...
Yes.
Take pride. Pride's essential, but not too much, because then that becomes arrogance.
Yes.
So when someone says, you're doing a really good job, I actually don't know what to say to them. I get stuck for words.
Yes.
When that happens.
Yep.
I don't think that I'm doing anything better than anybody else. I'm just taking responsibility for my role in this damn society.
Do you think that also has something to do with the way Zeph trained you?
I definitely so.
Yeah.
He's he was.
Because I remember his praise was, let's move on to the next technique.
Yeah, or he'd look at you and he'd almost nod, and then we'd move on, and you think, okay.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Absolutely. Definitely.
Yep.
Your dojo now, Steve. So how many adults are you roughly training? Twice a week? What are you doing?
It fluctuates. But at the moment I've got approximately 10.
Yep.
Give or take a few. Sometimes people come in, they train, they don't.
Yep.
I tend to call blue belt quit belt.
Yeah, okay.
That's about the 3-year mark.
Okay.
3 to 4 years. In my day, I only grade people once a year.
Yeah.
Because martial arts, you earn everything.
Yes.
And I don't like the franchise side of
McDojos. Yeah.
So you tend to get people that are like, oh, when's next grading? Next grading is when I fucking tell you that it is.
Yeah.
And not before.
Yeah.
I will approach you when I think that you're ready.
Yes.
You know? And then if you don't feel that you're ready after that, then that's on you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to force you to do it, but Kyokushin is about challenge.
Yes.
And stepping up to a challenge.
Yeah.
So take what I say heavily because, you know, I'm seeing something in you you probably can't see for yourself.
Yes.
Confidence.
Yeah.
But that said, you know, I also, if someone says, oh, can I grade? No.
Well, if they're asking, they're not ready.
No.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that you're quite there yet.
Yeah.
You know? That's actually harder for parents than it is for kids.
I
Kids
bet.
don't give too much of a shit, I don't find. Sometimes parents are like, well, we want results. We want results. It's like, okay, I'll supply those results. But it's not like Facebook, mate, where you can click on a video and, oh, there's the video. Well done, little Sonny Jim.
Yeah.
It's not instant gratification. Like, you want your child to be disciplined and stuff, you have to display a bit of that yourself, mate.
Yeah.
Because I can't undo what you're teaching them at home.
Exactly. And it's all time and reps.
Exactly
Like,
so. So, you know...
Twice a week, Steve, you training at the moment?
No, I do 3 days a week.
Nice.
3 days a week and anywhere up to 3 hours. At the moment, I've dropped it back to 2 because I'm trying to heal myself a bit so that I can train for this 4th Dan.
Yeah.
But... yeah, I do 3 days.
We haven't
a
even
week.
touched on that yet, mate.
Every Tuesday and Thursday, I start at 5:30, and then I do another 6:30, which is basically changeover.
Yes.
Which is, you know, I'll bow everybody out. I make sure that we always shake hands at the end of the lesson, and I make sure I shake everybody's hand.
Yep.
At the end of the lesson, you know, at the current point in time, I'm I'm forcing everybody to learn the dojo kun.
Yes.
You know, especially the green belts and above, because, you know, and I'm not a very political guy, I guess. I hope I'm not. So let's look at it from this perspective. You'll have noticed that there's been massive fractures in Kyokushin, and like arseholes, everybody has an opinion on one. So my philosophy on it is this: I don't give a fuck who you are. If you're Kyokushin, I'll train with you.
Yeah.
Right? I'm happy to have people come into my dojo. Doesn't matter who you are, as long as you're there to train Kyokushin.
Yeah.
If you're Kyokushin and I don't give a shit what IK are you from, you're more than welcome. You have a home away from home at my dojo.
Yeah.
Because it's not my dojo.
Yep.
It's our dojo.
Yes.
Right? So that's my philosophy there. I find it very heartbreaking to see the fractures that have happened.
Yeah, okay.
I tend to find that that a lot of ego has come in, which I find odd. Just on that, like, Sosei spent so long training people to become willful, really willful, with that never give up attitude. And this is no fault of his. It just is what it is. That's the nature of us, that never give up. Unfortunately, it has a double edge to it, where sometimes people will not let go of something that should be let go of.
Yeah.
So you tend to see fractures happen instead of unity. You see infighting instead of corroboration.
Yeah.
You know, and working for the greater Kyokushin. So I just think that if people looked more into the dojo kun and reflected upon it and kept applying it to themselves, then I think that would be a good positive move for the future.
There'd be a lot of healing there, wouldn't there?
Obviously, there's people have got their alliances.
Yeah.
People have got who they're loyal to, and I can't fault them for that because that's a part of Kyokushin.
Yeah.
You know, loyalty. But also being loyal to yourself, because that's part of it, you know, and what you morally find acceptable and what you don't.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, there's no easy fix and no easy answer, but I just think we need to look at the dojo kun.
Yeah, okay.
You know, a little more.
In terms of infighting, politics, I'm not privy to it all. Is it still going on to this day?
I think it does. I mean, people have more separated up into their own little groups, and now they train in their own little groups. But it still does happen. You're starting to see wounds heal, and people are fighting cross-tournament now. IKO1 will come in and sometimes fighting IKO 3. So that's the start. I think it's
Right.
really good. But, I mean, like I said, I'm not really that much of a political person.
That's not a bad way
I
to be at all.
acknowledge that it's
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm more I'm more keen on, all right, there's a difference. Let's get the fuck on the mat and punch it out,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
All right, no, Mate, you got me. Well
Yeah.
done. We'll go with what you said.
Yeah.
Why can't we do that? That
Yeah.
was the point of it.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we're all wearing the same symbol
Fuck yeah.
on the chest, you know?
You know, I mean, my own philosophy is that I try to train so much that my belt goes wide again.
Yes.
I'm more interested in that.
Yeah.
You know, someone says, "Oh, your belt's getting old and worn." Good,
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
good. Maybe I'll maintain that beginner's mind then.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. Cross training. Do you emphasize the importance, or do you tend to tell your students not to look at other arts, or where do you personally sit with that?
Okay, so my own view, because I mean, you and I come from the same background,
Yes.
so we were encouraged to do it.
Yes.
Now, my loyalty is to Kyokushin, so I teach Kyokushin, and I only train in Kyokushin. If I was ever to do any other martial art, I would probably participate in practicing BJJ
Yes.
or judo, mainly because I think they supplement Kyokushin
Yes.
really well,
Yeah.
like, especially judo.
Yeah.
I've always been very fond of judo. I think it's fantastic, and it's the other part of Kyokushin. In my view, many people might disagree, and I don't care that someone might
Yeah.
change their mind or whatever. But my views on it are this, I suppose. I train Kyokushin. I am not oblivious to other martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really that interested in training other arts because I'm quite happy with what I'm doing.
Yep.
Kyokushin's the art for me.
Yes.
But I'm not an idiot. So I don't ignore boxing. I don't ignore wrestling. I don't
Yes.
ignore these things.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is if there is a student or somebody that I know that is learned in another particular martial art, I don't mind if they come in and hold seminars, because then it makes all the other Kyokushin karateka aware of what it is.
Sure.
And then I also like to make, okay, what are they doing? What's the Kyokushin equivalent of what we're doing? And how does that relate?
Yep.
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all Budo,
Yeah.
you know? So that's my own view. That might sound diplomatic. It's fucking not. If my students want to go and train judo, go train judo, you know?
Yeah.
Because then that's experience that comes back to the dojo.
Yes.
I could be teaching a takedown, and then they say, oh, there's a variation, sensei.
Yeah.
Okay, show me.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. How does that relate to Kyokushin?
Yeah.
Because I'm not changing Kyokushin,
Yeah.
but how does it relate? Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
that way, I can still keep Kyokushin
Pure. Yeah.
and as it was intended to be,
Yes.
but I think it's insane if you don't acknowledge other martial arts.
Definitely.
Because what happens if you ever come up against somebody and you need to defend yourself against somebody that's a boxer or somebody,
Yeah.
which has happened in the past that I don't really want to talk about.
Yeah.
Or say somebody's unhinged and they've practiced Wing Chun.
Yeah.
Well, what if you're not used to that particular type of fighting and, you know, they batter your face and
Yeah.
you're fucking oblivion or they
Yeah.
stomp on your knee?
Yeah.
If you're oblivious to that, you're fucked.
Yeah.
So you've got, you know, I don't think it's the art per se that is good or bad or whatever. I think it's the person using it. I know guys that have done Taekwondo and they smash bricks and, you know, they're really good fighters.
Yeah.
But I also know Taekwondo people that can't fucking... They wave their leg at people, but if they hit somebody, they'd smash their fucking foot.
Yeah.
You know? So it just
I
depends.
think we know the same people.
Well, it depends on the person. It depends on whether or not it's an actual dojo or if it's a franchise.
Yes.
Which goes back to why I want it as a club. Because
Yes.
I don't want, you know, oh, geez, I'm losing students. I better water it back.
It's my revenue. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
With the way that I've got it, I can walk in, and if there's nobody else there, right, fuck you guys, I'm going to train.
Yeah.
And that's what I do.
Yeah.
You know, I'll train if there's 10 or none.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
You were recently invited to Japan for
Yes.
your fourth Dan,
Yep.
which is taking place next year.
Invited is probably the diplomatic term.
Demanded?
Shian Cho said, Steve, I want you to start training up for your 14.
Yeah.
And I've got to admit, I nearly cried when he said that, right? Because, you know, it's
So how long you been on third for, Steve?
since 2013.
Sure, okay.
I think. Yeah,
Yep.
2013 was a year after the... Yeah, it was a year after the World Tournament in 2012.
Yes.
So, I got invited to go and do that next year. That'll be the World Tournament back in Japan. So I'm imagining it's probably going to be in Isesaki, which is where Kansho Matsushima lives.
Okay.
So his Hombu is there.
Yes.
So, yeah. And I think that'll be approximately an 8-hour grading.
Yes.
I definitely know there's another 40-man in it for me.
Yeah, okay.
So, got to get healed up. So
Yeah.
I can, and most of the guys that you're fighting are the World Tournament fighters. So, cool.
Yeah, okay. How does your training change? Is there particularly new katas or anything you have to learn now?
No, I already know all of the katas. It's just about bunkai refinement. Obviously, there's technical aspects that I need to learn more
Yes.
of. No doubt there's going to be a lot of questions in regards to what are you doing?
Yes.
You know, so you really have to have your bunkai
Yep.
and application down.
Like really break that technique down. What's that hand doing? What are you doing there? All that sort of stuff.
When I'm training myself, I mean, I like to mix it up. I like to, I'm a big one for using music as a medium.
Okay.
You know, so what I'll do is I'll put intervals on of whatever. So it could be a minute intervals for 10 minutes.
Yep.
And then for 1 minute, I'm practicing said kata, and then I'll run and go and do bag work, and then I'll come back and I'll do a different kata, and then
Yep.
I'll do a run, or I love mixing it up and doing circuit work because you never know what's going to be asked of you. So I love to just throw spanners in and fuck my own.
All the
mind up.
unknown.
What,
Yep.
what am I doing?
Yep.
Because then it makes me grow.
Yes.
You know, and then the more I have to work out what the hell I'm doing, the better teacher I'm going to become.
Yes.
You know, so it all makes a nice big fat circle.
Yep.
Yeah. At the end of the day, plus I'm a big fan of altitude training.
Okay.
Now, okay, we can't really do that in Tassie. You might be able to go to Cradle Mountain, but fuck that. Unless you
3-hour drive,
go sightseeing.
Yeah.
You know, with the family, and then next thing you know, you're smashing out the Sanchin kata.
Yeah.
And then the family's like, "What are you doing, Dad?"
Yeah.
You know. So what I do is I get an altitude mask and I set it to
Yes.
18,000 feet, which is fucking horrible. And then I'll train
8,000 feet?
18.
18. Okay, I thought you said 80. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
right.
So 18,000 feet, and when you got it on and you're doing training, your ears crackle and shit like you're on a plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible. I hate it.
Do you find that throws your conditioning through the roof?
It increases your oxygen intake. Your recovery is phenomenal to the point where by the time they're asking you to do something else, you've recovered.
You're right. Okay.
You're able to keep going.
Yep.
Because I mean, if you're unaware of what an altitude mask does, which I'm pretty sure you do, I mean, one of the best things is it increases your VO2 max.
Yep.
So, you know, per stroke of your heart,
Yep.
you're getting that oxygen saturation.
Yes.
Plus, I've recently started doing the Wim Hof method.
Yes,
of
okay.
breathing.
Nice.
He's one of the people that inspire me, Wim Hof.
How long have you been doing that for?
I've been aware of Wim Hof for probably the last 4 years.
Yeah.
But it's only been within the last year that his stuff's been available because
Yes.
his son's been able to market it over online. So every time something new comes out of his, I watch it.
Yep.
You know, and
How are you finding it?
awesome. It's interesting and it's horrible all at the same time. I get anxious before I do the breathing exercises, but then when I'm holding my breath, you know, I tend to find 4 minutes or so has passed, and it's just like, oh, that was easy, cool.
Yeah, okay.
Now, go again, and I'm up to about 6 rounds now.
Yep.
About 6
Okay.
rounds of between 2 to 4 minutes, depending on what I want to do.
Yep.
Because I don't want to go too hard, too fast, because you can hallucinate, which I found out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, I did this other thing the other day in the dojo. Probably wasn't a good idea. I did a heap of bag work with the training mask on.
Okay.
And I had my top student. John reverse my belt and grab onto the belt and
Sure.
pull the other way.
Yep.
So I got the altitude mask on and I had to get after the bag, and then
Legs on fire.
it was horrible. And then as soon as that was done, I immediately dropped and then started doing the Wim Hof breathing method.
Right.
And I had a fucking out of body experience. It was
Really?
insane. I saw
Yeah.
myself laying on the ground.
Yeah.
It was nuts. And then I was just like, oh, what the fuck? Yeah, it wrecked me. So I've got to do more of that.
In terms of the altitude mask, from my experience watching people doing the 40-man kumite, they've only got enough time, bow to their opponent, turn, bow, turn back. So you've literally got 10, 15 seconds at best for recovery.
Yep.
Are you training specifically for that?
No.
No?
No.
Will that tend to ramp up towards?
Not at the moment. I still do all of my tournament-based training with all of my fighters.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever they're doing, I do.
Yep.
So it's all I need to do is increase my lactic threshold training.
Yes.
And that'll probably be closer to the time. My main concern at the moment is, I would say, technical excellence.
Yes.
And that's my main focus at the minute.
Yep.
And just getting myself to a really good body weight that I'm going to maintain.
That's what I was going to ask you. What's your ideal fighting weight?
My ideal fighting weight, I tend to compete at about 78.
Yes.
Middleweight. At the minute, I'm sitting closer to 90 kilos.
Yeah.
Just brutal honesty. Sometimes I don't watch what I eat.
Yeah.
I just fuck it, eat.
Yeah.
But it's time now where I'm about to start doing intermittent fasting.
Oh yeah,
I
nice.
tend to find that's really awesome for recovery. I hate doing it though.
Yeah.
Because I eat like a fucking horse.
Yes, you do. I remember that as a kid.
And I really enjoy eating, and you've got a very small window to eat between 2 p.m. and 10 p.m.
Yeah.
And I train from 5:30
Sure.
until 8:30.
Yeah.
So that window's shortened.
Basically 6 hours. Yeah, or
4
4 hours even.
I'm fucking impossible to live with.
Yeah, okay.
Because I get hangry.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like it. You are an avid fisherman. That would be, growing up as a kid, I'm not sure if it was ever there or anything, but that's something you've developed.
Look,
is that your, I believe, and I've seen this in quite a few docos, when people practice something so violent, they often have a counter release, which is something very peaceful.
Look, possibly. I don't actually see martial arts as violence at all. It's violent. It can be, but it's not violence.
Yep.
Because it's all to do with intent.
Yes, training for a possibility.
Exactly so. But then after a while, you don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And that you don't even understand fully why you train anymore. You just do it.
It's there.
Which is what I do, But, I mean, absolutely, I just, because the way I see it is I'm looking for Buddha.
Yep.
I'm looking for the meaning behind the martial way, So I dabble with a bit of yoga,
yes,
because of the breathing and the stretching side of it, and the calm. Kyokushin's very yang,
yes,
whereas this is very yin.
Yep.
It's a bit about balance, I suppose. I've got a lot of reasons why I do fishing. Growing up, I was never interested in it in my teens. I always wanted to.
Okay.
But because I knew my father and my grandfather both grandfathers were avid fishermen.
Yep.
And I always wanted to do it, but they either didn't want to or never could take me. So I just gave up on it and thought, you know what, fuck that, fishing's fucking shit.
Yeah.
Fuck this. And a big torrent of swear words every time someone mentioned fishing. Fuck you, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
But I think that was more me being passive aggressive towards it.
Okay.
Really. But I did want to learn, and I'd never caught a fish before. So I went out one day and
Just self-taught?
It was well, yes and no. You know, my wife grew up doing it.
Okay.
So she was like, oh, you know, let's go do it. My youngest son, Saxon, said, oh, I want to go fishing. I was like, oh, fuck this. All right, whatever. So I went out with him and caught nothing. I was like, yay, that was predictable. So anyway, there was one time, and then the next day he wanted to go, and I was like, oh, well, all right, whatever. So I was casting out. We were there for about 2 hours at the Cam River.
Okay.
The Cam.
Yeah.
And I got there, and I got my first nibble, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, motherfucker. Well, I got all excited. I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. And I wound it in because I didn't know. And there was just a chunk of chicken on the end.
Yeah.
And I was like, ah, oh, you fucking bastard. And then I just thought, no, all right, well, let's just see how far I can cast. And I was just cast, retrieve. And my wife got shitty with me. She's like, you're scaring the fucking fish away. Just chuck it in the water and leave it there.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, this is boring as shit. Nothing's happening. And sun was going down. I was all demoralised and disheartened. And I think I was even standing in such a way that you could tell that I didn't want to be there.
Yeah, okay.
Because I'm an expressive kind of guy. And then she goes, just change your bait and chuck it out.
Yep.
And I cast it out. And then the next thing you know, bang. I was like, oh, fuck me, I think I got something. I just felt like a little kid.
Yeah, yep.
Wound it in, and I didn't know what it was. It was just a fish. I was like, oh, look at this one.
Yeah.
It's got fucking yellow eye. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I was like, right.
That was it?
I'm onto this now. I'm going to do this. I love it. That was great. So as a sign to the universe that I had good intentions, I let it go.
Yep.
It was a mullet. I didn't know what it was.
Yep.
I didn't know what a fucking mullet was. I just knew it was a fish. And then I was like, right, I'm going to go research what that was. And yep, that was a mullet. Cool. I went back the very next day, and I took one of my daughter's friends, Emily's friends. Her name's Tabron, and she goes fishing with her dad all the time.
Right, okay.
And then I cast out, fish on, beautiful. I'm keeping this one. And I didn't know how to gut it or nothing. I had no fucking clue. I was like, fuck, what do I do with it?
Yeah.
So she taught me a bit of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Right? How to gut it, how to scale it and everything. So a 12-year-old girl, because she was 12 at the time.
Yeah.
A 12-year-old girl taught me how to bloody do this stuff. And I was like, right, that was embarrassing. That's not happening again. But, your teachers are where they are, where they're needed, right? So, and then in that one day, I caught another mullet, a cocky salmon, and a mackerel, all in 10 minutes. I was like, this is awesome. And then we went to the jetty the same day. Went to the jetty at Burnie and then caught 7.
You really got bitten by the bug, didn't you?
Fuck yeah. We were just running chicken.
Yeah.
At the time, I don't use chicken anymore. It got caught 7 fish at that time. Oh, it was cod, and I was going to try it all. By the way, cod's fucking disgusting.
Right, okay.
Right? It tastes like scunge.
Yeah.
Unless you smoke it. I don't have a smoker, so I don't catch them.
Yeah.
Or I use them as shark bait.
Yeah.
Good shark bait, by the way. So then we caught them, and then I got mad for some reason and chucked my rod aside. I can't even remember what made me mad.
What, in the drink?
No. I threw it and hit a rock and it busted the whole fucking thing. So I was like, oh, shit. Okay, you can't chuck your rod around. Lesson learned. It was only a $20 rod. So
okay.
But then I went back and I bought a big beach rod. So
right.
I was sitting there where everybody was and I had this 12-foot fucking beach rod. And I was like, yeah. And then the next one I caught was a flathead. Now, fucking flathead are delicious. And I was all excited and it was massive and was like, yes. And then I didn't catch anything for a while after that. And then I went with that particular rod. I taught myself some more stuff. And then from then on, I was self-taught.
Yep.
I'd watch fishing shows and I'd watch how to tie knots and how to do all this stuff. And then I went to Cooey Beach. right? Just across from the high school there.
Yeah.
Cast out, and something made my rod go boom. I was like, what the hell? Ran over, grabbed it, started winding it in, and I was too keen. So I tore it out of this thing's mouth, fell backwards, the rod smashed me in the head, split my head open. I was like, God damn it, right. It's out there. So I changed hooks and recast back out again. And I was just a little more gentle this time.
Was it hooked it again?
Yeah, hooked the same damn thing. And it had the hook in its mouth that I got from before. And it was a gummy shark.
Okay.
There's a photo of it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, like, ever since then, I've been catching all kinds of shit. Yeah.
How often do you fish?
Well,
how often do you try to fish?
I've been renovating a building so that I can start my massage business.
Yes.
But I've been renovating that, so I haven't been able to get out that much.
Okay.
But I was going out 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah. So when your business is up and running, and normally you'll be back out there.
Fuck yeah. I will.
Awesome.
You know, it keeps me busy.
And the kids and missus eat everything you catch?
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Louise suffers from fibromyalgia.
Okay.
So one of the things that she can eat a lot of is fish. So it's a really good motivator to get out and go fishing.
Yes.
And I'm going to get myself a boat, you know, go out, catch a heap of stuff. Because you can get like, when it's the correct season, you can get $300-400 worth of food legally.
Yes.
In one sitting.
Yes.
You know, so that way it cuts a lot of costs of feeding because, you know, I've got 5 kids and
protein's expensive.
I eat like a horse and food isn't fucking cheap. So,
yeah. So you got a chest freezer at home?
Yeah, I have, but it's full of bait. So it all fucking stinks. Yeah. So
you have to change it over.
I'm public enemy number 1 at the moment with that.
The last question, Stephen.
Yeah, man.
We've always been intrigued and students of games, whether it be tabletop wargaming, role-playing game. That's... I don't think I knew what it was when I first started doing strategic war games, but I found as I developed, it really linked in to my martial arts training.
Yeah, yeah.
The whole... The strategy, I guess, looking for different weaknesses and perceived weaknesses, strengths.
Yeah.
What have you got to sort of add to that in terms of how they sort of cross over?
Well,
and I guess it can even be related to computer games to a degree.
There's also the creativeness of it.
Yes.
When you are participating in your chosen martial art or whatever, there has to be a degree of creativeness. And I think that's what separates a lot of people. Like, martial arts means expression of warfare, but it can also be translated as martial skill, right? Depending on. So it's an opportunity for you to express yourself. Now, when it comes to a lot of tabletop wargaming, there's the hobby side of it that's involved, which is the painting or manoeuvring around, and there's interacting with people, and you've got to come up with tactics sometimes, or most of the time, on the spot.
Yes.
You've got to demoralise your opponent, or, you know, and it's also about not taking yourself too damn seriously as well, right? So when you can relax the mind and relax yourself, you tend to be much more efficient at whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
If you put added stress on yourself or whatever, things go bad horribly. I tend to play... I don't tend to play too many computer games these days. I don't know why. I like them.
Yep.
You know, because I think it's funny that you can shoot somebody in the balls and not have to do it in real life. It's like, yeah, okay, I don't hurt anybody now.
Yeah.
That makes me sound like a psychopath. But, you know, just shits and giggles, really. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you can get creative with whatever you're doing. And I tend to find that when I was competing and I didn't understand that I had a anxiety disorder, I tended to find that, like, I'd have a panic attack and, you know, you would almost self-sabotage to a degree.
Sure, okay.
Right? Again, didn't realise what had happened, and you're like, holy fuck, you know, what's going on here? You know? And yet, when you relaxed your mind, I tended to find that my creativity came out, and you would do things that you wouldn't normally do. You'd be like, holy shit, how the fuck did I do that?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's where it all interconnects with martial arts. Plus, I mean, I tend to play like what it's called Pathfinder, but it's Dungeons and Dragons, really.
Yes.
And that's my favoured kind of game. You know, that way I can interact with my family, and it's
which is fucking awesome, by the way.
You've got you look at people struggle to get their kids to read, struggle to get their kids to do mathematics, and that's both in those particular games.
A lot of those games are, and they just get that cognitive workout.
You've got to problem solve.
Yes.
You know, you're presented with, there's a death knight. Fuck, how are you going to overcome all this other stuff? You've got to utilise what's at your arsenal, and you've got to work as a team, and then you've got to overcome this damn thing.
Yep.
And then you've got to learn when it's safe to cut and run, when it's a good idea, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it.
And that teamwork factor as well.
That's right.
And then, I know my kids don't get that.
Yeah. And and then it's kind of interesting too, watching your own kids come up with characters of their own, you know. Like my daughter Caitlin. My daughter Caitlin's playing an elven sorceress at the moment, but she's chaotic evil, and she with the abyssal bloodline and runs around behaving like the Joker.
Does that ring any bells though? Does that bring back?
It does. It's kind of funny. Whereas my eldest son Logan, he tends to play lawful evil characters that run around with the mannerisms of Darth Vader.
Okay.
You know, that's kind of interesting. Just watching all these kind of. Plus, it's a good opportunity for me, as their dad, to, I guess, interact with some of their friends.
Yes.
So that I build a bit of a relationship with them too.
Sort of gauge them as well.
Not to the same extent, because I want them to have their own friends.
Of course.
But I know that I can trust these
people. Yeah.
And if I can't trust these people, then they'd be told very effectively and immediately and concisely, look, I don't fucking like what you're doing.
Yep.
You keep it up and you won't be welcome back.
Yeah.
And then everything's clear. They don't mess with me, I don't mess with them, and I don't even have to think about it.
Yes.
You know? Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, because I mean, all my kids train.
Yep.
All of them. You know, because I think that they need all of the ethics and things.
Yes.
But that said, I also game with my kids.
Yep.
You know, because they don't always have to see me as this authoritarian arsehole.
Thanks for listening to episode 4, guys. Once again, apologies about the cut-off there at the hour and 50 mark, but I do plan on getting back down and having some more epic conversations with Stephen. Thank you.